Hello, we are going to have the discussion about branches or core fields of philosophy. So I am going to share the screen so you could have a basis of what I'm talking. So it is our lesson 2 in this subject, formal logic. So let us proceed. Lesson 2 is about core branches of philosophy. So based on the given activities which I gave last time, I am asking you to have a video analysis regarding the branches of philosophy by Christian Anadale on the given URL which I have given last time. I hope you have answers with the lesson that we have, which is about what are the main or core fields of philosophy or branches of philosophy, and you are to explain each, of course. Second is how can we benefit from the knowledge of philosophy? So how can knowledge of philosophy be beneficial to mankind? You are going to cite examples for these answers. I hope you have done your part in analyzing the videos and the URL which I gave last time. Now let us proceed. So at the end of this lesson, you are expected to determine the core fields, branches of philosophy, identify the fundamental benefits of philosophy or benefits philosophy could provide to humanity, and as well as to make a write-up about the importance of philosophy. So at the end of this lesson, the product would be a write-up or an essay about the importance of philosophy. Make it a reflective essay wherein you are going to use the facts and reflect from the facts based from what you experience. Okay? So now let us process your thoughts and the information you gathered by examining and understanding the contents that we have last time. So here are the main branches of philosophy. Actually, these are divided as to the nature of the questions as in each area. Each branch do have different ways of giving questions or different set of questions. So the main branches are the following. We have metaphysics, axiology, epistemology, and we have logic. Let us have the first one, metaphysics. This is a branch of philosophy that studies the ultimate nature of reality or existence. It deals with issues of reality, God, freedom, soul, immortality, the mind-body problem, form and substance relationship, cause and effect relationship, and other related issues. So what about metaphysics? The persons that are expert with metaphysics, they are called metaphysicians. They are able to seek an irreducible foundation of reality or first principles from which absolute knowledge or truth can be induced or deduced. So there are two ways of reasoning with this in terms of understanding reality. It could be induced or deduced. The term metaphysics is derived from the Greek word meta, wherein the word meta means beyond, upon, or after, and the word physica, which means physics, literally it refers to those things that are after physics. So way back then, Aristotle's writings on first philosophy, which is metaphysics, came after his treatise on physics. Therefore, Aristotle's editor Andronicus of Rhodes named them metaphysics. So it was the editor of Aristotle who made choice or who made the decision to choose the word metaphysics. Example of questions under this are what is reality? What is the ultimate real? So what is our way of, or what is our basis of reality? Okay. Third example would be, what is the nature of ultimate reality? Next, is it one thing or is it many different things? Can reality be grasped by the senses or it is transcendent? So those questions. Another is, what makes reality different from a mere appearance? So as I was saying, so the questions would only circulate about the reality. Is there something that is real? What is our basis, like that? Okay. Another reality questions that is under metaphysics is the question, does God exist? And if so, can we prove it? So that's a manner of testing, the reality. Next is, are human actions free or predetermined by a supernatural force? So if you believe in supernatural force, how can we determine if it's supernatural or not? So how can we presume real reality from non-reality? Another example under this is, what is human being? If you would say it is a thinking mind, how is it? Is a human body a perishable one? If you say yes, then why? So those combination are of both. Even the question about time, because it's something to do with reality. What is time? Maybe other persons would give different meanings about it, but you need to have the basis in reality. What is really time? So what is even the question, what is the meaning of life? Those questions are under this one. At first, we would question or ask what is real. It would seem too simple to bother asking, but consider this example. According to George Knight's example about the existence of a floor, and one will see the question has far-reaching implications. Let me reiterate the given scenario. Pinag-uusapan nila is, what is the existence, or how about the existence of a floor? Okay, Floor. So, please examine the answers given by different types of persons. Say, for example, that question is the existence of a floor. What would be the different answers that we could give or implicate? First, it may seem to have a rather straightforward existence. For those that do have a straightforward answers, like it is obviously flat, solid, and smooth. It has a particular color. It is composed of an identifiable material such as wood or concrete, and it supports your weight. So that is example under, that would be the answer number one for the question, what is about the existence of a floor. But suppose, however, that a physicist enters the room and question about the reality of the floor, she or he will reply that the floor is made of molecules, diba? So that molecules consist of atoms, electrons, protons, and neutrons, and this finally of electric energy alone. So for physicists, they would answer differently. They would answer it based on the physical aspect of the wood. While the first one that answered the question was able to answer the question through the physical observations. The third position is offered by a passing chemist. Okay, so to him, the floor would be as just a hotbed or hydrocarbons associated in a particular way and subject to certain kinds of environmental influences, such as heat, cold, wetness, dryness, and oxidation. So the third person gave an answer that is based on chemical identification of the object that is being questioned, such, for example, the floor. So as you can see, or as we examine those answers, they could have different sense of reality. Okay, so that is under metaphysics. It is evident that the question of reality is not as simplistic as it appears. It is a hard question, but we could derive several answers. If the reality of a common floor is confusing, what about the larger problems that present themselves as humankind, di ba? Floor pa lang, iba-iba ni description. How about more with the other examples under this if you are going to question what is life? We could say for a biologist, life started with a cell. For a chemist, life started when molecules combine together to perform functions. Well, for a physicist, it would be a combination of the matter and energy between and among molecules inside of a cell to give a certain function. So that those are varied answers that we could get metaphysically, because that is uh, a way of answering the reality of something based on what they know. So for metaphysical questions, since these are the most basic to ask because they provide the foundation upon which all subsequent inquiry is based, we could have different sets of metaphysical questions. We have cosmological aspect. So we are asking on the different theories or origin, nature, and development of the universe as an orderly system. We could have theological aspect, wherein theology is that part of religious theory that deals with conceptions of and about God. So the question about God, we could categorize this under theological aspect of metaphysics. The other one is anthropological aspect, wherein it deals with the study of human beings, wherein they ask questions like the following: what is the relationship between mind and body? So something about the functions of the human physiological aspect. Okay. And lastly, we have ontological aspect or ontology, wherein the study of the nature of existence or what it means for anything to exist. Several questions are central to ontology, which is basic reality found in matter or physical energy. Those questions, those are under metaphysics. Next, we have axiology. Axiology is the study or theory of value. So the axios, which means value, worth, or study of value. So hence, axiology is the philosophical study of value, which originally meant the word of worth of something, okay? Being worthy. So I have here a simple example of axiology. We could have different ways of valuing things. Those that are red or valuable for some could be different in terms of worth with other people. So in axiology, it deals with different related issues, namely ethics, aesthetics, social political philosophy. So what is about those two? Yung ethics, it is known as moral philosophy. This is a science that deals with the philosophical study of moral principles, values, codes, and rules. Yung aesthetics, it is the study of value in the arts of the inquiry into feelings, judgment, or standards of beauty, and related concepts. So yung dalawa, okay, this is our under axiology. Even social political philosophy is under this, wherein they are valuing thoughts of things, okay? For example of questions, we have the following. What is a value? Where do values come from? Why do we have values? How do we justify our values? How do we know what is valuable? What is the relationship between values and knowledge? Who benefits from values? So all about attitudes, worth, theory, whether bad or desired, vibration, anything that is fundamental of your worth, that is under axiology. Next, we have the third one, epistemology, wherein for epistemology, it seeks answers to a number of fundamental issues. One is whether reality can even be known. Okay. For epistemology, this studies about the nature, scope, meaning, and possibility of knowledge. In other words, it is theory of knowledge, study of knowledge. It deals with issues of knowledge, opinion, truth, falsity, reason, experience, and faith. So, for you to memorize it easily, just bear in mind epistemology is also called theory of knowledge or referred to as theory of knowledge. Examples of question under this is a question about truth, belief, and what is the knowledge behind those words. Knowledge about truth and knowledge about belief. So it is being more skeptical. Skepticism, in its narrow sense, is the position claiming that people cannot acquire reliable knowledge and that any search for truth is in vain. That thought was well expressed by Gorgias, the Greek sophist, who asserted that nothing exists and that if it did, we could not know it. Most people claim that reality can be known. However, once they have taken that position, they must decide through what sources reality may be known and must have some concept of how to judge the validity of their knowledge. Example of questions under this. What is knowledge? What does it mean to know? What is the source of knowledge? How can we be sure that what we perceive through our senses is correct? Another is what makes knowledge different from belief or opinion. Anything that has something to do with knowledge, that is under epistemology. A major aspect of epistemology relates to the source of human knowledge. If one accepts the fact that there is truth and even truth in the universe, how can human beings comprehend such truth? So, how do they become human knowledge like that? Central to most people answer to their question is empiricism. So skepticism and empiricism is under this, okay? Last one, the fourth main field of philosophy is logic. Logic is the study or theory of principles of right reasoning. Right reasoning, huh? It deals with formulating the right principles of reasoning and developing scientific methods of evaluating the validity and soundness of arguments. How valid is the argument? How valid is the type of reasoning? Examples among the questions that you might ask that could be raised under this field is, what is an argument? What does it mean to argue? What makes an argument valid or invalid? What is a sound argument? What relation do premise and conclusion have argument? Another is, how can we formulate and evaluate an argument? What is fallacy? What makes an argument fallacious? So those examples. So overall, we have four main fields under philosophy. Namely, let us have the recap. Number one, we have metaphysics. Second is axiology. Next is epistemology. And the fourth one is logic. Please bear in mind those examples. For logic, remember it's a matter of critical thinking, critical reasoning. Okay. As a critical discipline, it deals with giving a rational critic analysis, clarification, and evaluation of answers given to basic metaphysical, epistemological, and axiological questions. Okay? So, philosophy cannot stand alone if it's just pure logic. Example, you have the right reason, but is it real? There's no metaphysics in it. Another is, if there is metaphysics but there's no logic, vice versa, they cannot stand, okay? They could not stand as just one philosophy, because in philosophy we have several fields that could work together to find out the essence of existence, particularly for human life. How important is studying philosophy? Actually, if we would ask any philosophy student, okay, what is the necessity of studying philosophy? They may give us the following famous philosophical statement like this: the unexamined life is not worth living. So meaning, Our life itself should be examined. Okay, through philosophy, we could examine it one by one. As the famous ancient Greek philosopher named Socrates, he once said that I tell you that to let no days pass without discussing goodness and all the other subjects about which you hear me talking and examining both myself and others is really the best thing that a man can do. And the life without this sort of examination is not worth living. So what does it mean? In this, in studying philosophy, we could examine what really are the things around us. We could examine ourselves, our way of thinking. We could reflect and act better, okay, in dealing with different matters in life. So that is what philosophy, okay, stands as a kind of science. But remember, philosophy do not have its concrete specific definition, okay? That's why it is divided into several fields. So in philosophy, it's not enough that you know philosophy, but you should also do philosophy. And when we do philosophy, we are doing philosophizing. It is a way to reveal the truth about the various stages of life and everything associated with it, and to reveal the fulfillment of the purpose for each stage of the life, and to express the way for the realization of these things are in a relevant way in order to obtain the best compromise of all that we face. So again, through these branches of philosophy, we will be more oriented on how we can philosophize. If you're asking about reality, that's metaphysics. If you are asking about the worth, it is axiology. If you are asking the uh, about knowledge or the science behind of things, it could be epistemology. And if you are doing or using sets of reasoning, or you are able to answer something through right reasoning, that's logic, okay? So these four can work in harmony, actually. Okay, so that ends our discussion. Thank you for attending and listening on my class. I hope you learn with the discussion that we have. Okay, so that ends our discussion. Thank you. Okay, let us end our discussion for